Welcome to our podcast. I am Ken, and this is my co-host Brad, and we are
Hey,
Banana Rama Hammock. And today we are reviewing episode 2 of Warrior Nun on Netflix.
the second episode of Warrior Nun begins essentially with the idea that you know our girl Ava is waking up to her second day of life after being put in the spotlight, right? Cardinal Doretti gives Father Vincent a day to find the halo, but Father Vincent wonders if the halo is really meant to be with Ava, maybe. Um, Mary tracks the mercenaries' bullets to their creator and then to their supplier, and it later becomes clear that the mercenaries are contracted to work for Arctech. Ava worries that she doesn't really fit in with JC and his friends, and they take her to a party at Arctech where they sneak in. At that party, Arctech's Dr. Salvius demonstrates that she can stabilize the Higgs field. Actually, it's a Higgs boson field, but let's go with the Higgs field to create a quantum portal. But Cardinal Doretti recognizes that she has used divinium to do so, and demands that the holy relics be returned to the church. Ava is then attacked by a Tarisk, which is a higher order demon, but Father Vincent and the nuns save her, and then subsequently capture her, take her back to wherever they're going.
I enjoyed it kind of like the first episode. I enjoyed a lot of it, and then some of it was kind of annoying. To start with, at the beginning of the episode, to start with, actually, Ava herself is not in this episode very much, which I kind of liked. This was more about the supporting cast, which is cool. But in the beginning of the episode, Sister Mary comes to the church, and Sister Lilith and the other nuns are like praying, basically. They're trying to look for the halo, and Sister Mary has been out. She was searching for the mercenary who killed Sister Shannon, and an argument ensues between Sister Mary and Sister Lilith.
Yep.
And this whole thing, to me, I don't know, it kind of is like annoying to me with Sister Mary, because she kind of like tells Sister Lilith that she's just a brat, basically, who is only upset that she's was next in line to get the halo, and now now the halo's missing, so she doesn't get that chance. And she comes from this epic family, and to be truthful, Sister Mary is the one who comes off to me as immature, because while all this stuff is going on, she's so focused on the fact that her friend died, and she's so focused on getting revenge that she's ignoring everything else. Like all in. And I mean, there's a demon, a Tarask demon has come to the planet for the first time in over a century.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much else going on. The Halo is a huge deal, and it's missing. And she's so focused on frickin' getting revenge that, I don't know. To me, Sister Mary is just super, super immature and kind of annoying throughout the episode. I do get that she's a badass, and I'm hopeful that we'll see an arc with her character where she does grow up. But right now, her character is just kind of whiny and annoying to me.
Yeah, I see that. I think they're drawing her that way. I think it's crucial for them with her character to define the beginning of her characterization, right? As someone who is less concerned with the big picture and more concerned with the individual, suffering of specific people, herself included, and I think that the problem with that is that we're not seeing the whole picture, the whole season, from from a height. We're doing it for episode, so episode to
Right.
episode. So you've got Sister Lilith, who appears to be sort of the more mature one, the more like, well, I'm after the halo, and maybe my the reasons for my focus are not exactly egalitarian or whatever, but instead I might be concerned with just my role in all of this and my station
Legacy
and legacy. But but as it is, we get to see a little bit of interaction between the sisters to differentiate them and to kind of characterize each of them as what they're good at. You get something later with sister. I think is it Beatrice? Who comes
I
up
believe it is.
with the info from the police and their the CCTV hit that gives them some information about Ava and where she might be, and so she's more of the tech nerd nun, I guess.
Yeah, Beatrice comes off to me as like the most level-headed of all the nuns. Like the real, I don't know. To me, she almost comes off as the real leader. Lilith, we've seen very little of her so far, but right now, I have no reason to think that she's just this bratty girl who all she cares about is family legacy. But we may well see that as the series goes on. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't. As of right now, I don't have a reason to believe that about her.
Yeah, I mean, we find out that Sister Lilith, her family has supported the order specifically, not just the church, but the order, since like the First Crusade, right? And
Right.
and so even Cardinal Doretti is saying, hey, so you've got a day to get this back and into the hands of Sister Lilith before before I can do pretty much nothing to keep the rest of the order from coming in and kind of taking control and doing what it wants to do. So, Sister Lilith is obviously, the next in line for this this Halo, and to be the the battle sister, the warrior nun.
Right,
so,
the bearer of it. Yeah.
Right. But overall, I'll tell you, I liked the episode. I thought it started really strong, right? I liked the wake up sequence, and the shower, and she's talking to herself, and she's saying how much she likes this boy, talking about what is it, JC, I guess, and
JC, yeah.
and I thought that was cool. The rest of the focus, it took me a minute to get pulled in to the rest to the church side of the story. Right, like I was pulled in immediately when she woke up and she was like super excited to essentially like wake up,
Right.
since she didn't know she was going to.
But no, no, I liked it a lot too. I like this episode more than the first one, I think. And
Me too.
And I like the beginning part of it. How I mean, she wakes up, and then she has a little scene with JC, and he talks about the circle on her back.
Mm-hmm.
And so she
and then she's like, "Oh yeah,
she's like,
I have one of those."
What the hell? Yeah, she's like, what the heck is that? And then like I said, I like the fact that this episode didn't really focus on her. She was only in the episode for a very small amount of time, really.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, yeah. Essentially, you are correct. She was not the focus like she was in the first episode.
Right. She's in it a lot more in the second half of the episode when they finally do go to Arctech. I also like the introduction of the Julian Salvius.
Yeah.
I think she's a great character. I think that she has the potential to be a really good
foil for the church.
Right, especially because she's not coming from a place of evil. You know what I mean? She's coming from, like they're at odds, but not for like a black and white reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so I like she's
that.
not a fan of the church. She's not really a friend of the church, but that doesn't make her evil. That's good.
Right.
I had a few problems with the scene in the party there. And a couple of the decisions that they made. This is sort of a meta commentary. In that. Well, I mean, so they decide to go to this quote high-end party. And they're going to sneak in because they have press credentials, right? That they've purloined. And then essentially, like in the main party scene, there are like maybe 35 people there or whatever, right?
Right.
And it does not seem like if you're gonna get in with press credentials or whatever into a corporate party, right? Man, it just seemed like it wasn't much of a party. Seemed like it was like, oh, here's some shareholders and a few other people, and that's about it.
But
But you know,
like the rave episode from last week, that's like a normal party to me. High-end VIP type parties are real exclusive like that. Like they don't
maybe.
have very many people, and like, but the people there are like people you're not going to run into, like Cardinal Doretti and
Sure.
the CEO of the company. So
It wasn't a big.
I didn't.
It wasn't a big thing. It was
Yeah.
something that I kind of noticed, and I'm like, okay, well,
I get what you're
a little
saying. It seems kind of lame, especially after the rave that they had last episode. But
That was
to
the
me,
standout
wasn't a
scene.
big thing.
I'll tell you, that was the standout scene of the first episode. Was that rave scene? It was nice. It was good.
That was a great.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. But the issue that I had with it, and one thing that I liked about that whole thing was how big of a geek Ava was. As soon as they show up, she's geeking out over ArcTech and all the technology and the science. And
She's
the
very
inventions.
likable. She is very
Yeah.
very likable, and and all of her insecurities and her interests and the quirkiness of her character, I think, is really on display in this episode, and I think it's a really
Right.
good episode because of that. I liked her. I liked her from the get-go. Right? Every episode
Especially-
or every scene that she's in rather is a good
Endearing.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you contrast her up against the group that she's with, and they are this more VIP, even though they're pretenders, they're sneaking in, but they're more of this VIP type crowd, this exclusive type crowd.
Yep.
And so when she starts geeking out, they're like, "What is this?" But they're not. They don't hate it. It's
Foreign to them.
To me, I really enjoyed those scenes.
Yeah. I'll
the
agree
scene
with you
that
there. Yep.
The scene that I didn't like is when Julian and the Cardinal started arguing with each other, and there was all the media there taking pictures, and they had this huge argument. And I'm like, to me, this Cardinal Doretti guy seems like he should know better than to get into this type of an argument with all these cameras around. To me, I'm just expecting next episode there to be all these newspapers or news articles on the internet like talking about all this, and it's just going to make the church look super bad. Like, I don't know. To me, I just thought that scene was like, it made the Cardinal seem really, really stupid to me.
So I've got another view on this. I didn't notice that there were a lot of like flash bulbs going off or pictures being taken, but maybe I just skipped over that part. But I felt like it was a capably done scene, right? Where you had Dr. Julian Sylvanus is, she's there to score points off of this Cardinal, right? And he's there basically to say, look, we need to warn you about this, and I think you're doing, the wrong thing, and I want, and he's basically there to give exposition, right? While, while Julian is there to, kind of score points off of, the church, right?
Right.
I don't know if, you're going to find a bunch of news articles the next day, but, maybe so.
I don't know. I
didn't think the scene was bad, but it wasn't.
I saw a bunch of cameras go up. I mean, they looked kind of like cell phones to me, a lot of them. But
okay.
I saw a bunch of cameras go up, like you saw them raise up behind her as she was talking to the Cardinal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to see a bunch of news articles either. It just, to me, the Cardinal really came off as dumb in that scene to me.
Yeah, did he? I don't know.
He did.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
He deploys sort of a classic faith-based argument, and she's meddling in matters that she doesn't understand, and ultimately will destroy us all,
Right.
But I don't think, like, my personal takeaway from that was not that he was, kind of a non-media savvy guy or a dumb guy, but I think that's just, that's just my opinion, man.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's your opinion, and my opinion is the other way. I mean, I don't think, like, especially coming off of the first episode. The first episode, he seems so, like, almost sinister. He's very methodical, and he comes in almost like I think I said last episode that he came in like an FBI agent.
That was Father Vincent.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. To
Father
me,
Vincent was featured prominently in the first episode. If Cardinal Julian was in the first episode, I'm sorry, not Cardinal Julian. Cardinal
Doretti.
Doretti. If Cardinal Doretti was in the first episode, he was sort of a voice on the phone kind of thing, because Father Vincent had left a message for him, basically saying, "Hey, we've got this problem. We need you to come here." And then in the second episode, he appears, and Father Vincent's like, "Hey, I didn't realize you were in town." And Cardinal Doretti's like, "Oh yeah, it happens to be I was in town for something else, and so I was able to come by, and it was fortunate that I was." The stuff that you saw with the like detective or special agent, kind of priest was all Father Vincent in the first episode.
Oh, okay. Wow, I must have. Anyways.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But the point is that that scene to me, that scene really made him look like, I don't know. He looked
He didn't come off
outclassed and
great.
outplayed.
Yeah.
And he didn't come off great. Yeah. And so for a character like, I don't have a lot of faith in this character, especially if he's supposed to be one of the higher ups,
Right.
holding the rest of the church back from saving
Right.
Father Vincent and all that. That scene just didn't put a lot of faith in me in the character. That's all.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And then Sister Mary, meanwhile, in that scene, she shows up at the last minute. She finds the leader of the mercenaries that she's been hunting. She knocks him out at some point, and then she
Yeah, that's kind of
manages
the last bit there, right? Or nearly the last bit.
And then she manages to somehow meet up with the rest of the warrior nuns, and then rush into the event and save Ava as
From
the
the
Tarrasque
Tarrasque,
is
yeah.
attacking her.
Yeah, we have a scene like earlier on in the show, or in the episode, where the Tarrasque appears in the sports store that Ava had been
Right.
thrown into, in the last episode, and he
Right.
spears an employee
clerk.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's obvious
Innocent.
that the Tarrasque, because he can only be briefly, in the normal realm, he's kind of methodically going from site to site where she has used a power.
Right.
And
it's on
so-
her trail. It's tracking her down.
Yeah, unfortunately, that sort of, I got the impression that it was when she used a power that that the Tarrasque would sort of find her, right? But then she doesn't even use a power before it finds her at Arctech. The only thing I could
Right.
think of was her interaction with that shield that appears in one of the Arctech offices, where
That
she
certainly
goes.
could be it.
Yeah, apparently Divinium reacts when the Halo is around, which is why
That could be it,
the
yeah.
Cardinal's ring reacts when she's, coming into the party.
Right.
So,
Another really, really weird thing is that when her and JC were running through the building,
oh right, yeah.
they decide to leave, and all of a sudden she's walking by this room, and she sees a kid locked in there or something.
Yeah, some
and-
kid locked in a room. Yeah,
Some kid locked in a room, and then she focuses on this, and JC gets locked behind some other door, and then she goes back and rings the alarm. What was going on? Who is this kid?
Okay, so-
he looked creepy.
right.
I'm like,
and
is that the Antichrist in there? What's going on?
I
What's
I
happening?
figured that her time in the orphanage / hospice place where she was at, and kind of locked in there, gives her this this automatic sort of bond with anybody who is locked away against their will, and so she's going
makes
to go
sense.
in and try to find this kid that she sees almost like an apparition, right? She sees him through through two windows. And
Right.
then, they're going to leave the party, and JC goes through the door out into the main area, and then she just closes the door behind him to go back and look for this kid. She goes back, the kid's nowhere to be found. She asks him, hey, come out,
Right.
and all this kind of stuff. She doesn't find him. And then when she tries to open the door, an alarm sounds. Now, it is unclear to me whether that alarm was sounded because they already knew that there were intruders in the building, and it just happened to be when she wiggled the handle. But I'm pretty sure it was because she wiggled the handle that
Right.
the alarm went off. Although I'm going to tell you, in a normal office building, if an alarm goes off every time you wiggle a handle that you don't have a key for, I'm going to think
Right.
that you're going to have some problems with the alarm company. But
Right.
that being said, she then oddly takes off in the opposite direction of the exit door that she knows JC just went through, and then she backtracks when she sees some guards coming from that direction. But it was weird to me that she went off in the other direction, and maybe it's just me. But I'm like, okay, I know an exit door is over in this direction because I just fucking was gonna follow JC through it, but instead I'm gonna go this direction, the opposite one, because. But that gets her, kind of running through the hallways, away from the cops or the guards or whatever, and then she gets into the room with the shield, and and then the Tarisk appears. Actually, I guess the Tarisk appears in the hallway. Then she runs into the room with the shield, and somehow grabs it. And as the Tarisk is assaulting her, then she like kind of brandishes the shield and then makes it go back to hell. And that's when that's when the rest of the warrior or the nuns and the father come in after they've been like fighting the Tarisk out in the hallway for a few minutes, and then the Tarisk like notices Ava. That's when he comes in and she brandishes the shield, which was like a cool scene. It was all right, It was
cool.
It was very like I had noticed that this particular episode was much more low key than the first episode. There was no big fight, or anything until the very last act.
Right.
Whereas you had a lot more action in the first episode. I was okay with that. For the most part, when the Tarisk finally did attack and you had a big action scene, I was kind of grateful for it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I am fucking waiting for Shotgun Mary to like come in and really, just put somebody on the fucking floor. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, she did that with the mercenary leader, but
yeah, but I mean, not the same. She needs to really, she needs to really live up to this Shotgun Mary, nom de guerre that she's got, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, So, anyways,
I liked it. I thought it was a good second episode. It makes me want to watch the next episode.
It makes me a little bit more excited for the next episode. Like I said, I think I enjoyed this episode more than I enjoyed the first one. I am getting a huge sort of Buffy the Vampire Slayer feel from this show.
We'll see.
Father Vincent to me,
the supporting cast really needs to be fleshed out a lot more, before I give you that, for sure.
I'm not saying it's on the same level right yet, but I mean, like imagine the first couple episodes of Buffy, you didn't know any of those people yet, you know what I mean?
To be honest with you, even the first, like, say, 2 or 3 episodes of Buffy, I think the characterization of the supporting cast, I think was stronger. I think it was more apparent. Whether that makes it more comic book like, oh, I'm painting in 4 colors, or whatever. But and this one maybe is a little more, I don't know, nuanced, maybe, or something like that.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's just, maybe it's just 20 years more down the line, right?
Yeah, that too. But to me, I'm getting a real, like Father Vincent, I'm getting a real Librarian Giles type of a vibe from Buffy coming in and learning how to become a vampire slayer. Yeah. But in this one with the Warrior Nun, it's almost like later in Buffy when they added more Slayers. When it wasn't just Buffy, there was other Slayers with her. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I'll give you that. Although in the if I remember correctly, like they could all kill vampires. In the show, it's just that Buffy was really badass at doing it.
Right. But then but the Slayer title only went to certain people.
Yeah,
and like
that's true.
Like, who were the other Slayers? There was
Faith. No, was it Faith?
Yeah, Faith was one of them. There was a few of them, like I don't know, season 3 or 4. There was like a handful of them. But anyways, that's kind of what.
Gosh,
I'll
tell you, I like Buffy. I really do.
Me too.
I know I don't want to. I know I don't want to get on to another show, but gosh, I did like Buffy. I thought it was great.
but that's kind of what this, and like I said, it just kind of is giving me a little bit of that vibe. With you've got multiple nuns that are badass, and they all have their different thing. And the halo goes to Ava, and who knows what
and the award goes to
right, and who knows, because obviously I think now that they have her, they're going to start training her and stuff like that.
So now that they have her, they don't have to worry. Theoretically, they don't have to worry about Cardinal gosh, I keep forgetting his name. Cardinal Duretti.
Duretti.
Cardinal Duretti, coming down on him, or the rest of the order coming down on them. And maybe they'll get a little bit of free time with Ava, so that they can kind of give her
I'm
the
sure
lowdown.
I'm sure that they'll still be coming down on them a little bit, but it won't be as bad as if they didn't have the Halo at all.
Right, yeah, and
So-
I imagine there will be some training scenes and some exposition and other stuff
Right.
like that. We'll see how it goes. I'm not yet in the pocket of the series, right? They got more work to do, to really get me in there.
For me too, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen between Ava and Mary because both of them seem to be kind of
Alphas?
contrarian to. Yeah. Well. I mean, I don't know about alpha.
Well, okay, you got a good point. Ava is not an alpha, but she is given the role. She's given the primary role in the show, and therefore, must be
Right.
the alpha. And Mary is already defined as an alpha,
Right,
or a
right.
primary character. So yeah, But anyway, we'll see.
they're both kind of contrarians. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Ava's the non-believer, and then Mary's this immature one who's doing things for selfish reasons as opposed to doing them for the greater good. So I'm I kind of have a feeling that they're gonna hate each other. But I don't know. I'm curious to see where this is all gonna go.
This has been Bananarama Hammock. I've been Brad, and my buddy's been Ken, and we've been really excited to tell you about Warrior Nun, Episode 2.